Welcome. Appreciate everyone being here this evening. I think it's going to be hopefully an exciting evening, even though I don't plan on singing and dancing. But there's a lot of information that I will be sharing this evening that will give you some insights into things that are happening in the school district and things that are happening now, things that we will be looking forward to in the future. There'll also be an opportunity as we go through this near the end where people can ask questions. And hopefully we can answer those, and if I can't answer those, then we'll get those off to the right people. So tonight's agenda, we're going to do a little bit about the school district, some of the big changes when it comes to marketing and some of the initiatives that we have going on that we spent a lot of time going through last year. But this is, we haven't had an opportunity to share these stories. We're going to, the Berea Board of Education, I'll take just a little bit of time to recognize them this evening. We'll talk a little bit about our Pride program and the students that are in the Pride program, and we have a couple of students who will be talking this evening and kind of give you some insights into what that program is at the high school. You may have heard about Pride, but not really sure exactly what that is, so they'll be able to give you a little bit of information about the program. We're going to talk about the quality profile. I'm going to get into some of the areas that we focus on in teaching and learning. And I'll spend some time with our financial, let me get this down so it doesn't echo, our financial planning or forecast outlook. I'll ask Ryan Gazzoni, our school CFO treasurer, to come up and talk for just a little bit about that. We'll spend a little bit of time on the transition planning that's been going on, that probably is some of the things that you're really interested in, and then a little bit on the facility update. And you may or may not have a lot of information on that, so hopefully you'll get some new information about our facility construction update. So here we are. We have a brand new logo for the school district. Just some insights into that. It's been about 7 months trying to develop a logo, looking at trying to do something that's going to represent our school district and all of those communities that make up our school district. And as you can see, the B is somewhat unique, right? It's one school district, 3 communities, and that's how that's broken out. We wanted to make sure that it was clear in our statement, our motto of excellence, integrity, and purpose, that people realize that we are, when people hear the Berea City School Districts, they don't always necessarily connect all of the communities to that. But we wanted to make sure, as we talked about our motto and how we publish that and market that information out to our, not just our community, but anywhere we send information, that people realize that we are Berea, we're Brook Park, Middleborough Heights. And I always in public say that we have a very small piece of Olmsted Falls because we will need them to support us when we go to the ballot. But it's something that we spent a lot of time. We're really, really proud of what that means to us. We also created a vision. We wanted people to know, what are we all about as a school district? And again, this wasn't just 2 or 3 people sitting in a room. We had a group working on this that spent hours trying to say, okay, what exactly in a vision statement from a school district, what do we want people to understand what we're all about? And as you can see, the Berea City School District is a diverse community dedicated to inspiring the lives of character, learning, leadership, and service. And each one of those areas are really important to us. Obviously in our business, we want to talk a lot about learning. You'll hear a little bit this evening about social, emotional learning that we have going on within the school district. So we talk about character. We always have opportunities for our kids. Good example here this evening, that leadership is important to us. But that last piece of service, we wanted to make sure that our students understood that giving back to our community is important, right? That whole concept of volunteerism. And a great example of that is right here in this building, right down the hallway. You may or may not know that we partnered with the Middleborough Heights Food Pantry. The food pantry is located in this site. Our kids have an opportunity during the school day to go down and help with that, right? They used to go over to Middlebrook. We closed that. We relocated that. It's a wonderful facility. And our kids travel right down the hallway. They help with deliveries, putting things on the shelves, and understand the importance of that in giving back. We also, I just wanted to take a little bit of time this evening to recognize the Berea Board of Education. They are all here this evening. I appreciate that their support. They are actively involved in our school district. Anna Chapman is our president. She is in the back. Corey Ferris is in the front, vice president. Steve Dockman is a new board member, right? Just joined us. Jeff Duke is in the back, also a new board member, just joined us. And Neil Postal is right here in the center. So I'd like to at least thank them. So round of applause. You know, here's the reality of their responsibilities within the school district, and you can kind of see some of this, right? They are actively involved in things that we do on a daily basis within the school district. They're involved in monthly meetings. They are heavily involved in some major things that we have going on, like our facilities, in transition, and bringing kids, you know, closing schools, opening schools. We are very, very fortunate in this school district to have those individuals as part of our Board of Education. The other thing I wanted to say is this month, January, is Board of Education Recognition Month. None of the board members get a lot of feedback on a regular basis. You know, they're in a role where they're hearing things, they're hearing concerns, they bring them to us. So it's really important that we take the time to thank them. They spend hours of their time in the school district for one reason, and that is to make sure that our school district is doing everything we can for our students. And I just appreciate what they do. So thank you so much. I wish I had more than that, but that's all we have. I don't have any fancy plaques or anything this evening. All right, so tonight, State of the Schools. We have students from the high school, the Pride program, and I have actually two students, right, Maribel and Alex, who are going to just take a moment and give you some insights. And they are led by Sherry Fox, right here, one of our high school teachers, and they do a number of different things across the district. Test, see if that works. Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Good evening.
Is that working? There you go.
All right. Good evening. My name is Maribel Boutros, and I am a senior at Berea Park High School. I am also a Pride executive leader of our school. So Pride is actually an acronym, and it stands for, it's on the PowerPoint actually, perseverance, respect, integrity, diversity, and excellence. And at Pride, we try to promote all of those traits actually around our school. And recently we've been hitting more unity and within our students and our staff. We've also been working with PBIS, which is Positive Behavioral Intervention and Supports. And we've been working with them, practically merging with them to create a bigger of a community for our schools, for all of our schools across the district, as well as our teachers and our board itself. So we both actually share one big goal, and that's to create unity within all of our schools. That's pretty much, and actually speaking of unity, we just had this past Wednesday, last Wednesday, we had our school's challenge day with our juniors and sophomores, and I'm going to leave that for Alex to talk about.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alex Daly. I'm also a Pride executive. So beyond like that acronym up there, I feel like another big thing for Pride is getting everyone in the school involved, all the students, bringing them together, doing activities to better like our community and our school and bring people together. For me personally, I feel like it's helped me mature and helped me become a better leader and do more in our school and get more involved. This is the only thing I've been involved with in school, like as far as sports and other clubs go. This is the only club I've been in. And since I went to the first meeting, I just Ms. Fox had me go, so thanks to her, I probably wouldn't be here. But yeah, I've loved it ever since. I love getting involved and helping with everything that we do. And my favorite is definitely Challenge Day because it's just nice to see everybody working together, and we kind of like,
We open up.
yeah, we open up. It gets personal, we break barriers, it goes beyond just a normal day of learning. And it was nice to see everybody respect each other and be there for each other. It warmed my heart. I liked it. It's definitely my favorite.
So personally, my favorite is probably Catch a Culture because I'm like 100% Lebanese, and we used to have something called Interfaith Celebration, which was all about religion, but that changed to Catch a Culture, and one of our students in Pride actually changed it, and I absolutely loved it because not only did I get to talk about my religion, but I got to see everybody's, like, all different kinds of cultures. And I thought that was really cool, and it really like showed the diversity aspect of our schools, which I really, really love. So, and personally, joining Pride for me wasn't something I was expecting. I went through a really, really rough time, bullying, my hair was falling out, that kind of stuff. And if it wasn't for Ms. Fox and Pride, I never thought I'd actually be standing in front of you right now. I'd probably be at home sulking. So thanks to Pride, I am up. I've never thought I'd ever be a leader in anything. And honestly, I think Pride is really, really important for our students as well as our staff because it really changes a lot. Like for Challenge Day, I've never seen so many juniors cry in one room. I've never seen so many juniors cry in one room. So many juniors and sophomores hug each other and apologize and thank each other, support each other. I think that's extraordinary. I'm going to bring it back to Alex.
Alex, I can take over from there, bud.
Yeah, well, you can take over. I just want to thank you for these nice blazers.
Yeah.
Shout you out videos.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Got it? Yeah, that's good. Well, you know, like I said, you're going to hear a lot of things tonight. The bottom line is, this is what matters, right? This is what matters, and this is why we do what we do on a daily basis. How many students are in Pride?
We have between like 40 and 60.
So between 40 and 60 kids are involved in the Pride program at the high school.
What exactly is Challenge Day?
So the quick question on the Challenge Day. Yeah. I think this is Let's just make sure. There you go.
All right, I'm Jonathan Lewis, one of the Pride leaders in Challenge Day. Challenge Day was the day that we seen to bring the juniors and sophomores specifically, because I know the seniors went through Challenge Day before as well, but it's a day to bring the students together, and the main point in Challenge Day is to show that we're all in a certain way the same. We all go through the same issues. The point of Challenge Day is really to bring unity with the students in our school, the students and the staff, to show that everyone's going through their own things behind closed doors. So that's why it's such an emotional event, because you know, there's a lot of opening up and there's a lot of seeing that, wow, this person's actually going through the same thing as I am, and I'm not the only one going through these issues. So basically with Challenge Day, like I said, we just try to get all the students to see, like, we need to be one with each other. We need to be one as a school, you know, as a community, rather than against each other. So it's just to bring unionship between each of the students, juniors and sophomores. And we had one of the events where we make a statement. If you have ever felt alone, cross the line. Students will cross the line. If you have a family member going through this, cross the line. If you ever went through this, cross the line. And it really shows each of the students, like, wow, like I said, I'm not alone. And there's other people who are like me, or there's other people even who aren't like me, going through the same issues that I'm going through. And I am normal. And I am accepted. So it was to make students feel accepted, and make students feel united with one each other, like I said, as a school and as a community.
Okay. Thank you. A lot of wonderful things happening within the organization, so I just want to say thank you. Now you guys, again, like everyone else, you don't have to stay all night if you don't want to. But it's going to be really hard to get out of here quietly from the front row. Do you guys want to head out, or you want to stay? You're going to stay for the whole thing? Okay. All right, so a couple things. Excellence, integrity, and purpose. All right, love these slides, right? This is an opportunity I get to go out and visit the different schools, see what's going on, get actively involved with the kids. There is awesome things happening in every single one of our schools. And it was really fun. I mean, I spent some time in the music classroom, spent the time, as you can see on the right-hand side, with the marching band right here in the parking lot, just getting to know some of the kids. But what you see every day when you go into these schools, and sometimes we take it for granted because we see it more frequently, is kids actively engaged, focused, smiling, enjoying themselves in the entire learning process. And, you know, we can all remember back to when we were in school, in particular probably high school. A lot of the same things are happening. Activities that are bringing kids together, pep rallies. We just had a very large event at the high school on Friday where we had a pep rally, and we had all the wrestlers were there. We actually had a meet during the day so kids could actually experience what a wrestling match was. A lot of the kids had never been to that kind of event. But, you know, this idea of how we came up with these, you can see each one of these things in our buildings on a daily basis, and I would invite you to come during the school day. Stop in the office, say who you are, say you want to spend some time. We have administrators that can take you around the school so you can get a sense on what's happening. I also wanted to spend some time on high quality teaching and learning. This is really the core of what we're all about. But I wanted to say that, tell you a little bit of what our goals were for this year in that area and where we are today. So one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that we were connecting things back to our district strategic plan. You can see that if you visit our website. And one of the areas was high quality teaching and learning. So the first thing we did, and that's really been focused with our academic affairs office, is we spent a lot of time reflecting and analyzing on the local and state data. So the state data is state report card information. The local data is assessments that we give on a regular basis, either through NWEA MAP information or common assessments that we're gathering on a regular basis in the building. So we had to spend a lot of time doing that first because we had to identify the areas that we needed to focus on throughout the school year. And through that work, we came up with the plan of what have we done? What have we done from the beginning of the school year to today? Well, the first thing is we really needed to spend a lot of time on this comprehensive balanced assessment system. So you say, okay, what's that mean? Right? Because there's some educational jargon there. What does it mean to have a comprehensive balanced assessment system? Well, what we've been doing is we've been working with teacher teams on a regular basis. And those teacher teams are either coming together during professional development opportunities that we have all day, where your kids are home. We're still here working with our teachers and our staff. And we're talking about aligning and refining common assessments. We're talking about making sure that they reflect, or we understand, right, that there's a gap that exists. We currently have gaps in our system that exist in regards to what is expected, what's our practice today, and then what's expected from our students. And if there's any gap there, we need to figure out a way to change the instructions so that they're aligned. So you can see that the work that we did with our staff, and that will continue. That's in the school during the day. That's a pull-out, that small group, bringing teachers over to our offices or another facility within the district to do those and have those conversations. Now, that's hard work, right? Because you have to understand exactly what is expected of our students. And when you recognize that there's a gap, that's there, right? You have to then figure out, okay, how are we going to get this practice to change so that we can make sure that our kids are showing what they know and what they need to be able to know. The other thing that we did is we talked about study and identify a new data and assessment platform. Okay, what's that mean? We have all kinds of information coming to us. All kinds of data that's coming in regarding each individual student. And it's coming in different ways, right? We have different software that we use for certain assessments. We have state assessments that come in. We have local assessments that I mentioned, and it's all coming in different formats. But we also know out there are software programs that can bring all that together. So we've been spending a lot of time trying to identify exactly what program we think we can use so that when a teacher wants to look up Mike Shepard as a student in 3rd grade, that they can click a button on the screen and it will provide all the information they need regarding that student. Right? That would be extremely beneficial. And time, obviously, will save a lot of time from the teaching perspective. We're really close on that one. We think we've found the right software, and we'll begin looking at purchasing that and implementing that. Also, we're spending a lot of time really trying to talk about differentiation. So that's really around, we know today clearly, right, that all students don't learn the same way. We know that. And we're trying to meet the needs of every single student. Now, in the past, you would know our experiences, right? Sit in a row, there'd be somebody teaching, it would be a common lesson, and maybe if you were connected and you really had a passion around that content, or you just had this ability to really focus and understand, we may have caught a percentage of students in that classroom. But today, when we talk about differentiation, we're talking about making sure that we clearly understand how each individual student learns. And then we try really hard to create a learning environment where we can meet all those individual needs. And that's around differentiation. And what we've done as a school district is we spent a lot of time meeting with teachers, trying to continue to provide them with these toolkits of ways to do that. That's something we'll continue to do throughout the school year. Really, another piece that we've been focusing on is social emotional learning in the youth mental health first aid. We're really proud of this. This is something that's unique to our school district. We're involved in regional networks for mental health needs, which was created in 2016. We have PBIS, that's Positive Behavior program that we have within our building. We have a strong partnership with the Cleveland Clinic, with the county, in regards to Ohio Mental Health Networks. We have trained all of our staff in mental health first aid from grades 5 all the way up to 12, and by next August we'll have trained all of our staff members and they'll all be certified. And I can tell you that there's probably not another school district in the state of Ohio that can say that. We have really taken this on. We understand the importance of social and emotional learning, and taking the time to make sure that our staff is fully trained to be able to connect with our students. And we're also focusing on activities to deal with wellness and prevention strategies. So when we look at our strategic plan, we look at things that we're doing in these areas. From the beginning of the school year to where we are right now, these are the activities and those focus areas that we've been really spending a lot of time on. You may or may not have received a quality profile from these wonderful students. Please take some time to look through it. It really does a nice job describing everything about the school district. We focus on the whole child, the whole student. That means that obviously we value the academics. That's our core business, priority one. We talk about all the unique opportunities that our students have in this school district that we're really proud of. We have dedicated employees that take the time to come up with these creative either clubs or activities or courses that they want to provide for our students. And you can see that within that document. We have an outstanding music program. We want kids to be involved in things outside of the school day. We understand the value of that. That kids learn out not just during the day, but throughout these activities, whether it's athletics, which if you've attended, we didn't have a real successful fall season when it came to in regards to the wins and loss column, but I can tell you that our kids had great experiences in our athletic programs. Within the document, some of the things that we're really proud of, the amount of money. This is the class of 2017. They were awarded $2.6 million in scholarships. We have a high graduation rate. That is a lot to a lot of credit given to those that are working in each one of our classrooms across the school district. We recognize it's important to identify our scores in ACTs and SATs because that makes a clear connection to where students have opportunities when they're looking at maybe going off to college. We're proud that we had 5 finalists, National Merit Scholarship Program, 10 semifinalists, and 24 commended scholars. We should be really proud of that as a school district and a community. A couple other things on the side here that I think are important for you to know. We offer 14 College Board Advanced Placement, that's the AP courses. We have 1,498 students that are in Polaris programs. Now 14, that's from grade 7 all the way to grade 12. Project Lead the Way, engineering, pre-engineering, biomedical courses, robotics courses here at the middle or the junior high. We have 204 students that are in dual credit. So this is the College Credit Plus program, right? We have kids that are getting high school credit at the same time getting college credit. That continues to grow. That's something that's probably, I don't know how many years, probably 4 or 5 years ago that was implemented. Now people think that's free. It's free from the parent and the student, but just so that you know, the school district is paying that. There's a certain amount that we pay to the different universities. We have kids going to Cleveland State, Lorraine Community College, Tri-C, Case Western Reserve, but it's a great opportunity for our kids. And then we have, this is actually last year's numbers, 158 students last year in our National Honor Society. I can tell you that we have 42 students now. We have 74 students that will be entering. 59 of those students are going to be seniors, so this year we'll have a number of about 119 students in our National Honor Society. I asked Ryan to talk a little about where we are financially as a school district. We're really proud. There's a lot to share in regards to the history over the last, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years from about 2013, where we had a lot of changes that have happened. So, Ryan?
So, as Mike said, he asked me to provide a brief, and he emphasized brief overview of the finances, knowing that that's not the most exciting part. One of the things that we'd like to point out is as a district, we publish a budget that's based on a national criteria. And we've received this award from the Association of School Business Officials International. This is our 4th straight year. We were notified last week that we got it again. And it's online. It's not just the financial part of the district. It has a lot of statistical information, where we think our enrollment's going, where enrollment's been, staffing, how we spend our money in comparison to other districts. And we're one of only a little bit over 150 districts across the United States and Canada that received that award. And this last year, the association picked our budget to be the national model for other schools to model their budgets after. And we're pretty proud of that, considering other groups in that 150 schools is like Dallas Independent, Houston Independence, Nashville, Broward County, Florida, massive organizations with billion-dollar budgets, and ours was picked to be one of the models for people to use. Since I've been in treasurer of the district with the Board of Education and the superintendent, we've chosen 2 goals to meet financially. One is to have a balanced budget 2 years out. So this year and next year we want to have a balanced budget, and we also want to have at least 10% of our operating budget in cash. And the reason is that way we can continue to provide services that go uninterrupted to students and opportunities to students without having to cut, try and pass a levy, bring everything back, and then start cutting again. Right now, since we published this budget, we've had some additional financial positive news. The district continues to recover from the recession, and this is the first time in over a decade that we've seen our commercial industrial property values increase. So right now, we believe we have a balanced budget through 2020, and if we continue to meet that, we'll have 7 years without deficit spending, which is something that not too many districts can say, and it helps us build a cash balance, and with that cash balance, we reinvest in our assets in the district. We try and look for opportunities that we can reduce operating costs. We just did one of the biggest school bus purchases this year, and we're able to start reducing repair costs. We paid off some debt about 5 years early and saved over $200,000 in interest costs this year, so we continue to do that. And then finally, one of the positive things for us is with the economy doing better, we are able to invest our money, specifically the bond proceeds. To date, since in a little over a year, since not even a year since we've issued our bonds, we've made over $800,000 in interest income. That sits in a separate account that can only be used for the construction project, and we're right now estimating that we're going to bring in about another $2.2 million. So in all, we'll have $3 million of additional income that we'll be putting back in the investment or into the building project just from the proceeds and from our investment policy.
Good, thanks, Ryan. I can just tell you we're really proud of where we are financially, have gone through ups and downs, and because we are where we are, we can make good decisions. I would recommend you take some time to go on our website, see this document. It describes not only where the money is coming in from, but it also, in one of the sections, it tells you how we're spending our money on big projects. So textbook purchases, technology, large initiatives that we may be having going on. When we talk about bus replacement, Ryan talked about purchasing buses. It also has a section in that document about improvements that need to be done across the district, and you can see exactly how much those cost. It's worth, I mean, maybe you don't want to read it, the whole thing, cover to cover, but it's worth going to look at. And we really appreciate the work that Ryan and his department has done with the budget, and all the other departments, because it takes a lot of time and effort. All right, so where are we in regards to the transition? We all know that we've gone through all kinds of changes in the school district, and we're getting ready to make another transition next school year. In regards to our 5th grade through 8th grade transition and our 9th grade students to the high school, next year, 2018-19 school year, we'll have our elementaries will be preschool through 4th grade. We'll have one 5th grade through 8th grade building right here. Talk about the construction in a minute. I'll show you some pictures of where we are with that, because we're connecting this building to the building next door, Middlebrook Education Center. And the Middlebrook Education Center will house our 5th grade students. They'll also have access to some of the great facilities we have here and resources we have here, but they'll be spending the majority of their day. But we have been spending a lot of time talking about what the day looks for the student. We're meeting with each grade level, and not just the core content teachers, but we're meeting with special area teachers, and we're gathering a lot of information in regards to what the day will look like for our students from 5th grade all the way up to 8th grade. So some of those, I'm just going to give you some examples. We've spent time looking at, right now at this building, we have a 7-period day. Kids go from class to class to class to class to class. They have a lunch, then they have enrichment. We're looking at what that structure may look like for next year. Does it look like that, or does it look differently? Schools do things like block scheduling, where they have, instead of doing it broken out by content area, we have teams of teachers. We used to have teams when we had our middle schools, so we're having a lot of conversations about what is the best environment for our students? What does a student day look like? And then we're talking about programming and the culture, because it's going to be a brand new school. And we also recognize that a 5th grade experience, a student that's in 5th grade, should not look like the exact same experience that our 8th grade students have, right? So we're taking a lot of time to study that. We should be probably completed with that by March, and we'll be able to communicate that out, exactly what that looks like for our students. We're spending a lot of time talking about logistics. That's also part of that whole conversation with small groups, moving our resources. We've done that once. We have a really good plan in place. We learned from some of the mistakes we made in the past, and we'll make sure that that's all ready to go for day one. Ideally, if we can get the construction completed back here on this building, we'd like to have all the materials out of Ford and into that facility prior to the somewhere around that beginning of the summertime. We're spending some time looking at transportation system changes because we have kids getting picked up going to different locations. We actually can mirror our transportation in a software program. We've also done that before as we've gone through transition so that you as parents get the information in a timely manner so you know exactly when your child is going to get picked up and dropped off. We're spending time right now with technology infrastructures and what we need in the classroom. As we relocate classrooms from Ford Intermediate School, we're making sure that we're taking newer technology equipment, transferring over to this site and also to Middlebrook. And then when we need to buy additional equipment, we're doing that now so it can be in place for day one. And then we're going to spend some time, we usually go through our staffing process sometime in March and or early April. Okay, a little bit of the historical perspective in regards to where we are moving forward. Transition for this building is underway, but let me just step back and give you some history before I show you some ideas that we're thinking when it comes to the rest of our facilities. 2011, we went through a consolidation with our schools in Berea. Grindstone Elementary houses our preschool through 4th grade students in the city of Berea. When this is all said and done, as you can see with our new plan in a minute, that we'll have elementaries, one elementary in each one of our communities. 2012, we passed a levy, 3.9 operating levy. We have to remember that during that time, we were in a financial crisis. That 3.9 that we passed was really filling a hole. We were also losing money through a program, tax that was going away called tangible personal property tax. Originally, when that was passed, it changed over from a tangible personal property tax, went into a CAT tax. The state collected all the money that used to be collected locally. They promised us that that would come back to the school district. New legislators came in, new governors. Well, guess what happened? They kept the money, right? And they're continuing slowly to phase those dollars back, taking it all from the school district. Right now, I think we're around $8 million, $7 million that we continue to get reimbursed, but at one point in time, we were closer to $20 million that supported our school district. So that actually helped us out fill the hole, but it didn't really move us forward. Then we had to make some tough decisions. We made the tough decisions to close one high school, bring them together, and we went through our first consolidation, which is the configuration you have there on the screen. Because of the work that we did, we've created a financial system. We were put ourselves in a financial situation where we could begin really looking at what our final phase was. We knew when we went to the consolidation before with the intermediate and being 5, 6, and this building being 7, 8, 9, that our ultimate goal was to bring our 9th grade students up to the high school because we wanted to make sure that that experience kind of mirrored others' experiences. And that was tricky for us, continued to be tricky. They've really done a nice job in this building over the years to actually kind of develop a culture with our 7, 8, 9, but having our 9th grade students away from the high school presents some very unique challenges when it comes to other activities. 2016, our community stepped up. They heard the story. They realized we had some needs from our facilities. We would have never been able to go out there and do this if we weren't financially solid in the operating side of our school district. We passed a 4.2 mil bond issue, $112.5 million that now, obviously, as Ryan shared, we can use some of those to generate additional dollars and begin our construction process. At the same time we went to New York, they increased our bond rating, which saves the taxpayers money based on interest rates. So right now, what's happening in this building? If you are working in this building, you know this. It's happening on a daily basis. There's work happening in classrooms, during the day, after school. We have third shift people here doing HVAC, electrical work. We have a connector being done between this building and the other building. The pictures that I show are actually a little bit old because now there's actually steel work going up over there, making that connection. The connection is just not one long hallway. The connection is a hallway, 4 classrooms, some extra learning space, and then the connector to the other building. As I said before, let me just step back. Big Creek is also receiving HVAC. People who are working at Big Creek, they're experiencing the same thing. There is disruption during the day or during the week. We're relocating teachers for a period of time. It takes time to get all this done. You can't get it all done in the summer, and you can't get it all done in third shift. So our 5th grade kids will be at MEC, as I mentioned before, and the district will build, obviously, the addition with the classrooms for this building. 2018, we'll open the doors to a brand new Berea Mid-Park Middle School, grades 5 through 8. The district is also building a, must not have been that exciting. I'm going to get to the high school in a minute. So the district is also building a brand new elementary school in the city of Brook Park. If you participated in the discussions that we had as we were talking about our complete renovations to our facilities in the district, the original plan was we shared, like the first time out, we said, well, let's renovate Ford Intermediate School. And it really didn't take very long for us to hear that really wasn't what the community wanted. And the community really wanted to have a brand new elementary school in the city of Brook Park. So that's what we did. We were able to have that as part of our plan. Brand new elementary school that will be on the Ford Intermediate site, and that will also incorporate the auditorium. There's probably not another elementary school that you'll find, in this state at least, that has an elementary auditorium that seats probably 900 to 1,000 people. It's a great resource to have. You'll also probably not find a building like this for grades 5 through 8, with the sports center, the gymnasium, planetarium, swimming pool. I mean, everything in this building is just phenomenal. And it's going to be great for our kids when it's all updated, especially during the hot time with the HVAC, both here and at Big Creek, and the other building as well. And then the district is building a brand new high school. That high school is being built on the existing high school site behind that building. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. These are just pictures of things that are happening right now. Our construction company sends these to us and kind of gives us an update on what's going on. As you can see, there's some ductwork and some painting that will be going on throughout the year. Same thing here within the construction that's happening on this site. The other thing on this site, just so you know, there'll be a shift on how we drop off and pick up our students in the back of this building. There'll be some site work where our buses will be able to come in, drop off the kids in the back, and exit onto Paula. And then all of our parent drop-off will be in the front of this building. Actually, just for our 6th, 7th, and 8th in our 5th grade, we'll be able to drop off over near the existing Middlebrook Education Center. You can see additional work where those connectors are. That's the concrete work, but now there's some steel going up over there. It's kind of exciting. Same thing inside the building. Things are happening. And if you haven't had an opportunity to walk down the short hallway here to our cafeteria, we redid the entire cafeteria with new furniture over the holiday break. We also wanted to make sure people understood that that was not bond issue money. So you can spread that out on your Facebook, on your Twitter. You can help us with that, right? Because I think people say, well, how come you're spending the bond money on this type of a project and the furniture? This furniture is being purchased through funds that we already have in nutrition services. We have funds that we can use for the facility and equipment, and we have enough money to be able to do that. And we'll also be able to put additional new furniture in some of our other schools as well. I can tell you when I'm over here with the kids while they're in that facility, Mr. Kish can tell you that, Mr. Ruman can tell you that, it has changed the atmosphere in the cafeteria for our students. They can elect to sit on the comfy chairs. I think that's probably the biggest challenge right now. Who gets to sit on those chairs? Some kids, get there quickly and they try to use those. There's chairs that you can sit with 4, yourself and maybe 3 other friends. We have also tables that are higher, that are along the window. We have also TVs in that area as well. It's just been a nice change to the cafeteria. We took out, if you're familiar with the building, we took out the one little area in the cafeteria that wasn't really utilized very often, and that has also opened that up. So where are we with the construction? We began this process back in February. We had two groups. We had an elementary group with 30 people, which was school district people, community people. Working on the design, we had 60 people in the high school. Because it's just bigger, we have departments that have to be represented. That work went from February to the fall of this past fall. A lot of time in identifying what the needs were, visioning, looking at other examples of new construction, either here in the state or online. And we visited a lot of different schools, and in some cases we wanted to see the whole school. In other cases we just wanted to see specific things that they had done within that school. And I can just tell you from all of that experience, we have developed what I believe to be just exceptional schools for our students. That group completed their work. We also met with individual grade levels and individual content areas, because we had to get kind of into the weeds in regards to what does a science classroom look like at the high school, and what their needs are, what does an English classroom, and what their needs are, what is a math classroom. The elementary, we had to see, okay, what does a kindergarten classroom based on the size need. We talked with our office staff about logistics and people coming in and out of the building. We talked a lot about school safety as well. And then we're here this past spring. Our architectural firm is GPD Group. That's the group that's really been working with us as we kind of developed the plans. And we are actually right now in the schematic design phase. And I'll just briefly tell you what those three are. You'll see a slide in a minute and I'll skip past it. But the schematic design phase is we spend a lot of time trying to create all the things that we want in the building, right? We put it all together. We say we want all these things, and during that schematic design phase, we get to at least see a site map of what the building will look like. You probably have seen some of those if you visited our website. And then from there, you send that out, right? And you say, okay, here's what we want. How much is it going to cost? You send it out, and you get the price. We're working on the high school project with Panzica, which is our construction company. We are doing what they call the construction manager at risk process. And that really is similar to you designing a home with a builder, and then that builder says, I can build that house for $300,000, and then you realize, okay, I only have $290,000, so I have to make adjustments here and there. Then they build that house for that cost. Same thing with this process. We're not out there bidding all these subcontracts. We contract with Panzica for the high school and C.T. Taylor for the elementary school. We work through all the numbers, what we want, what we need within the building. Then they come back and we say they can build it for this amount of money. We agree with that. The board then would sign an agreement to say you can build that school for that amount of money. We're not quite there yet. We're getting closer in that process. But that's in the schematic design phase. It's just really basic. Second phase is design development. They start to get into the weeds a little bit in regards to how does the HVAC work, how does the water flow within the building, what kind of interior walls, what kind of ceiling you're going to have. Then those numbers get better and better in regards to getting closer to exactly what it's going to cost to build the school. Then at the end you do construction documents. That's the specific things that have to go to the construction company. That's the ones that you have to follow when you get to that point. So, went through those. Here's where we are. This is the elementary school in the city of Brook Park. A couple of things. I don't know if this has a pointer thing. Yep. On this slide you can see there's been a couple of things that have happened here. There's a new driveway that's closest to the church on Holland that brings our buses in. They stack just like they do over at Grindstone, drop off our students that come in the back. They come around, they loop around, they come back out. All of our parking will be in the front of the building. And as you can see here, that's the existing auditorium. Just so you know, inside that building, the design of the grade levels will be not necessarily hallways, but learning commons. So here, you're walking down a hallway. There's classrooms on both sides. These learning commons are wide open spaces, so you won't see hallways anymore, but within this wide open space, there'll be classrooms along the way. They will have operable doors so they can expand their learning spaces from within a classroom. They can click a button, doors will open, and they'll be able to have students participate in activities to expand the classroom space. Also within that large learning common area, there'll be screens, opportunities for 2 or 3 classrooms to come together and do activities. We're really excited about the design for the elementary school. It has the gymnasium, similar to the gymnasium, the grindstone. There'll be 2 kitchens. There'll be a kitchen on the first floor and the second floor. Kids will be able to walk right out of their learning commons, grab their lunch, come right back into the learning commons. They'll have similar furniture that you saw that's down here, a little smaller for the little ones. They'll be able to eat, and then we'll be able to, just so that you also realize that when there's 2 grade levels that will be in learning common areas. One grade level is outside while the other one's eating, and then they would flip-flop. We've worked through all the logistics on that. It's just a really neat design, and we're excited about that, that building. So here are the highlights, right? Classroom space with operable doors. We went and saw buildings that in districts that have this type of design, and it's just really exciting for our kids. Talked about the kitchen, gymnasium, separate auditorium, outdoor learning space. That was important to us. It actually, one of our buildings right now, Brook Park Memorial, they have just a phenomenal outdoor learning area for our students, and they want to make sure that we have that in our new building. Talked about the buses, the learning commons, and the flexible furniture. Also a big piece of it. Our high school design, as you can see, the high school here, our academic wings are here, athletics are on this side, parking in the front on both sides. We have a little bit of parking in the back. There's drop-off areas here. We right now have our buses coming in this way, and they would actually come down Bagley, up Maple. They'd come in the back, pick up our students, and then go out onto Eastland. And right now, that design, I think, has 446 parking spaces. I'll show you right here the increases. The other thing in this high school has a very similar structure with these learning commons. Now, there's some unique settings there because we have science classrooms and some different classrooms sizes. But we're really excited about that as well. Operable doors, shared learning spaces. The goal there would be that we want students, when they have a non-class time, that they can spend time in those learning areas, close to maybe an area that they have an interest. One of the things that we realize is so if your kids right now, if you're in the music program, they go down to the lunchroom, they maybe get their lunch, and you know where they want to spend their time? Back up in the music room, a lot of those kids. So they go up there, and that's kind of a different environment for them. But we have kids that have an interest in robotics and science and math and social studies or ELA or English courses, and they want to spend social studies. They want to spend time in those areas, and they'll be able to do that within this high school structure. This also has just some facts. The building will be 10.5% larger than it is right now. Our enrollment's going down. We're going to have less kids with a bigger building. The core content areas, we're going to have more classrooms than we have right now. We're going to go to 62. Right now we have 49. Larger music areas, larger visual arts areas. We're going to have 3 cafes. We are not having a cafeteria. We're going to have cafes, and you can imagine those looking kind of like a Panera, Chipotle, where kids can come in, get their lunch, hang out, enjoy the lunch in a different setting than they have right now in the cafeteria. Cafeterias, in my opinion, are wasted spaces. They're large. We have groups that go down for just a short period of time. Well, right now we have a little bit more, but they only use a portion of the day. Then that building is vacated. We wanted to take that square feet and put it back into the learning environment. So we'll have 3 of those. We'll also have a space in the athletic auditorium area that will be available for food as well. Auditorium is 14% larger. We went and saw all kinds of auditoriums. This is going to be exciting when that's all said and done. the 18.7% larger competition gym than we currently have. Originally, we wanted to have a gym that had the same thing we have now, which is a sunken floor. It's kind of on the wish list, but we decided that based on the cost of doing that, we didn't necessarily need that. But 18.75% will allow us to have a much larger competition gym with a walking area for our students behind the stands. We're going to have 2 full basketball courts in our auxiliary gym. And then the site plan will have, obviously, I just mentioned the additional parking that goes along with that, which is really something that we wanted to, we took some time doing because we have students now that are parking across the street. We have some students that are parking over at the church. We really wanted to see if we could bring all of our students back onto the high school site. Where are we today? We are anticipating that we'll begin construction here in March. Now that just means the site plan work, the site work, which is you'll start to see fences go up, you'll start to see some trucks coming in, getting that all staged. And as you can see, this is going to take quite a while to build, especially the high school. The elementary will take 1 year less. But then we'll get our guaranteed price in May, and we'll have our groundbreaking in August, and then we'll have a big mess for a couple years until we start getting everything completed over on that site and also over on the Ford site. The Ford building actually is going to be sitting almost where the existing school is now, so the first thing you'll see there is that school will come down as soon as we get everything out of there for the construction to happen. Our next steps, we just have to finalize site plans, we have to get the cost, and then we have to start working on logistics for each one of our sites. Okay, before questions, I just want you to know that there is a lot going on in the school district, right? Whether it's in the classroom, whether it's working with our teachers and our staff members, whether we're dealing with a facility project, there is a lot going on. We're excited about it. We're excited about the future of the school district and what will be available to our students. So that being said, is there any questions? Yep.
Is there going to be a pool at the high school?
Is there going to be a pool at the high school? Right? Big question. All right, so we're looking at that. That's part of this process, right? At our last board meeting, the board said to me, I want you to go do some homework. We want to see what that costs. We want to get some more information. We want to look at alternate sites. Is it on the high school site? Is it on another site? Do you look at this building and this pool and all those things? So we are just in that process of gathering all that information, and we'll make a decision around that, right? Relatively soon, right? Good. What else? Yep.
Sorry, more sports. I saw that you were losing the baseball fields over here. What is the situation with baseball fields?
Right, so we actually have a problem, right? Because the construction that's happening over at the high school site is going to eliminate that baseball field. So right now we're looking at trying to relocate for we're talking about, is a relocation something that we're going to invest in to make permanent? Or is it a relocation that we can share resources with, whether it's a city, whether it's we've had conversations with other organizations or our neighboring communities during that time until we can actually come to a decision on exactly where that baseball field's going to be. But at some point in time, we'll have a baseball field for our students. Yeah. And it will be phenomenal. It'll be a great baseball field. What else? Yep.
You were talking about the teacher teams. How were those created? Was that from the state level, from your level, or from within the teachers?
The teacher teams in reference to?
In the very beginning.
In the instruction?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so what we've been doing is meeting with all the teachers in 5th grade, for example, all the teachers in 6th grade across the district. We all come together. We have spent time talking about things that we really like about what we do now, what we think are disadvantages. We actually have gathered research. We're working with a research company to talk about what it is that's that research can support when it comes to the student day structure and the concept of teaming, the concept of things like block scheduling. How does that work? So block scheduling would be that you'd have a team that would have an 80-minute block. So maybe there's a team of 4 teachers. And we're working through these things now that really interact with 100 students or so. Versus now we don't have that structure. And kids are kind of moving from, like, especially here at this building, trying to say, okay, what is the best learning environment for our students? Now it's just an opportunity for us to do that, and we're doing the homework to make sure that we're making good decisions. How many kids are on a team? How many teachers are on a team? How can they work together? Because I think one of the themes that's been coming out in these conversations is that our teachers want to have more access to the kids. Right? They want to spend more time with the kids. They want to get to know these students a little bit more. In the way that we have it structured right now, that's a little bit of a challenge. So we're working through that. And then part of that also is, like, we value the input of the people who are in the classroom. So it's really important to have those discussions. Does that answer your question?
I was kind of wondering if it was like TBT where the state brought it down and people are in meetings.
Yeah. This is us.
It's more from the lower end
Yeah.
going up
Yeah.
and actually getting better quality learning, teaching.
Right. State has no say. They're not involved at all. It's all from the ground up in these conversations, and it's all things that we're doing within the district.
And then the other question I had was about technology for all the assessment stuff. Is it a software that is like one location where you're putting all of the stuff? Like, so if you might have different portfolios, or you have the map test, is it like just a software where you're putting it all together? Or is it a software that all of the assessments is provided for all the different grade levels?
So I would ask you to talk to Jason Niedermeyer. Where'd he go? He left. He's up there. And Karen Frimmel, because they can talk more about the actual software that we're looking at. But the idea is, right now teachers have to go to one site to get their NWA information. They have to go to another site if they're in elementary and they're getting their ELA literacy information with common assessments. They have to go to another site to get state assessments, right? And the idea is, let's stop having you go to all these different places. Let's bring it all together to create a profile of a student and identifying that student's needs. And then from there, obviously, driving the instruction. Yeah. Yeah.
We get parent input also. I didn't realize Ford was the only school that does the team. And I didn't quite understand that until my child went there. And I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world because she wasn't going to see her friends. But I think you created a family.
Yeah.
And I pray, so I don't know if you ever get parent input, but I know on a regular basis, now it's part of 5C, those teachers have it going on. Like to the point where in elementary school, she'd have 3 tests on one day. So I'm like, boy, if we are not setting her up to fail right now in elementary school, what is going on? So we already have 2 teachers that plan to test on Friday. They're all sending out texts. You know what? We're going to move this to this day. That's amazing. I'm not saying cater to them, but you're making it the best possible outcome for them to do their best. So
Right.
I don't know if there's ever a parent input on that. They're just going to say they want to be with their friends who they were before.
Right.
But they also keep those friends, and you make new ones. You don't get to see the old ones as much as because you still see them on the outside.
Right.
But I love that. Whatever that team, however that rolls, if that continued here, or maybe even the 5th graders there, I don't know, because it's scary to go to a whole new school.
Right.
It
Right.
really was, and that's why I didn't like it. I wanted her to stay with who she knows, but it really, I love that 5C team. They're amazing.
Right, and I think we're having those conversations. It's a good point regarding feedback from our parents.
Yeah,
And
I don't know how much feedback, you'll get feedback from me. I don't know, I mean, I've heard it both sides.
Sure.
And I heard a lot of grumbling at the beginning.
Sure.
That was part of the grumble. But as we've come around to it, and then we all chit chat, as soon as they were all assigned teams, I was like, oh my God, what team, what? I mean, parents go psychotic. And
Right.
now it's like, you know what, that's kind of cool.
Right.
They're learning that, they're learning that. I don't know, I really like it.
Right. That's good. I appreciate it. What else? Yep.
Do we know what this time the schools are going to start? Is it going to be the same as now, or is it changing?
Yeah. So a couple things, right? All the students in the 5th grade through 8th grade, they will come together at the same time. I know that. They will, right? Because that was a question, are we going to have 5th grade come at a different time or 5th and 6th grade come at a time? They'll all come to the building at the same time. We are just looking at the times right now. Some challenges, really what happens with that, there's a lot of logistical challenges with transportation. Just so that people also understand, we have buses going all over the place, and we need to make sure that we can get buses where they need to be to pick up kids at the right time. So you can't change just one, you have to change all when you make adjustments. So we're looking at that right now. We are looking at the length of the school day for our kids, because there's a lot of things that we also want to incorporate into the school day. Not necessarily like, so your kids aren't going to be with us for 10 hours a day, right? But we're looking at what that looks like for our students and also for our adults. One of the things that came up today, which is a challenge for kids maybe here at the junior high and then probably at the high school, but maybe a little less because kids are older, is we have kids that we have all kinds of clubs and activities here that happen after school, but some kids can't stay because they can't get a ride home, right? That they really want to be in one of those activities. Maybe it's a pride, maybe it's a some other activity that they have here. And so we talk about that, like how we value those. Those are great experiences for kids, right? How can you do that?
Do you know when you'll have deadlines on when school starts? Because parents, from our point of view, is thinking about childcare
Right.
before and after school programs, that, like.
Yeah, I would say probably we'd be finished with that around April. So people would have plenty of time, April, May, we'd be able to communicate that out. I mean, I wouldn't look at a drastic shift.
Okay.
I mean, we're not quite there yet, even though we're not necessarily afraid to look to see things like high school starting times and but we still have one more transition with the high school, so we have a little bit of time to look at that. Some schools have shifted high school times, like start like around 8:45. One of the schools that we always talk about, so the most recent one was probably Avon. Well, they don't have high school busing, so you can change it, right? And it's a little bit easier. What else? Yep.
I guess just to confirm, it is set 100% that as of next year, 5th grade will attend over there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You can count on it. Yep. We'll be dropping them off over there. I sure hope it's open, right? Yeah. All right. You got it right. All right, well, I appreciate you coming this evening. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to call me, email me. You can call anybody else. And we'll be around for a little bit afterwards. Thanks.